why we're worried about it and obviously are going to track it very carefully.
But before that, tonight's top story.
Former IRA members are helping dissidents wage their terror campaign. That's the latest assessment of the Independent Monitoring Commission.
The IMC says dissident groups are recruiting inexperienced young men, but the expertise is coming from old hands. Sharon O'Neill has the story.
Shots fired over the coffin of a Republican. This was a common sight at the height of the IRA's campaign. But these are dissidents. Dissidents have already murdered 3 members of the security forces this year. Now it's emerged they're getting help from former members of the Provisional IRA.
There is some reason to believe that there's been some crossover with former PIRA members providing assistance to the real IRA in their operations. Now, it's easy to overstate that, and because we don't have the specifics that allow us to understand at a level of detail, but clearly there's some involvement. And I guess the simple answer is any involvement that we see of former PIRA people providing expertise to RARA in either planning or support of operations is important. And some of these operations look pretty sophisticated over the past several months. They're not the murder of the soldiers. That was not a casual kind of pickup operation. That was a seriously planned operation by professional people.
The IMC's latest report covers the 6 months from March to the end of August. During that time, 2 soldiers and a police officer have been killed. There's been numerous bomb attacks and so-called punishment beatings and shootings. But what else have the dissidents been up to? The real IRA was behind rallying in Ardoyne during the summer. Attacks on Protestant homes in County Antrim, and gunmen also forced a number of families in Belfast out of their homes. The Continuity IRA is also behind assaults and intimidation, Taggart kidnappings and robbery, one of which netted £600,000. The dissident threat is at its highest level in years. According to the IMC, the leadership of the 2 main dissident groups, the Continuity IRA and the Real IRA, aren't working together, but their members are. While the majority of new recruits are inexperienced young men, they've got the help of former IRA members. In terms of that expertise, are you talking more about the planning?
I think operational planning, actually use of how do you do it? How do you conduct operation? How do you provide protection for yourself? How do you avoid detection after an operation? What do you do to get rid of evidence? All those things are things that require some level of expertise and training.
The IMC says the devolution of police and injustice could provide a potent intervention to undermine these groups. Sinn Féin are ready to move, but the DUP insists the threat highlights why it's important to ensure the conditions are right before powers are transferred.
The threat from dissident groups is at its highest for years, and they're being helped by some former members of the Provisional IRA who are unhappy with the political process. 2 of the main points in the latest assessment of paramilitary violence by the Monitoring Commission. Our Home Affairs correspondent Vincent Kearney has the details.
It was no surprise that dissident Republicans were the main focus of today's report, and no surprise that the threat they pose is growing. In many ways, the IMC simply stated the obvious.
The overall level of dissident activity was markedly higher than anything we've seen since we first met in 2003. The seriousness, range and tempo of those dissenting criminals' activities all changed for the worse.
What was somewhat surprising was the statement that some disgruntled former members of the Provisional IRA are now offering help to those trying to wreck the political process.
This is a small number of people in a fluid way making expertise available to other dissenting terrorist groups.
When there was a clear structure of organisation of the Provisional IRA still in place, people held to that with a degree of discipline and saw forward movement, and even if they were disenchanted, they still held to the thing. When the structures of the IRA dissolve away, that is not there, and there's a degree of disenchantment. It's not surprising really, to see some element of cooperation.
In terms of what the dissidents have done, the Commission says that in addition to murdering 2 soldiers in Antrim and March, the Real IRA has continued efforts to train and recruit members, to target members of the security forces and try to acquire new weapons. Turning to the Continuity IRA, the Commission says that in addition to murdering Constable Stephen Carroll in March, the group also continues to train and recruit and carry out targeting. It's also trying to purchase weapons. The Commission says both dissident groups are involved in a wide range of serious crime. As for the Loyalist paramilitaries, the report welcomes the fact that the UVF has decommissioned its weapons and that the UDA has started the process, but it adds that the UVF may have held some weapons back. The report also says members of both organisations remain involved in a range of criminal activity.
The main focus of this report is the threat posed by dissident Republicans. The IMC concludes by saying it believes that devolution of policing and justice powers to Stormont would help combat that threat by creating a platform for political cooperation against those trying to undermine the peace process. Not surprisingly, that assessment has been welcomed by the Secretary of State Sean Woodward, who says he hopes it will help local politicians reach a decision soon. Vincent Kearney, BBC Newsline.
The Commission's report also outlined the sharp rise in so-called punishment attacks over the past 6 months. 63 people were assaulted, either beaten or shot. That's about 2 or 3 attacks every week, more than double the number during the same period last year.
There were 20 shootings in that 6-month period examined by the Commission, all carried out by dissident Republicans.